Good afternoon, and welcome to FSN, Fake Sports Network. I am Barrett Ozmer, identical twin brother of Garett Ozmer, who you may know as the news anchor of Fox 4 News. Today, speaking with us is Ian Desmond, outfielder for the Texas Rangers. He just signed a one-year contract out of free agency with the Rangers from the Nationals. Well, Ian, what prompted you to turn down the 7-year, $107 million contract extension with the Nats?
Well, Barrett, during my last season with the Nats, I wasn't performing at my best and nothing felt right. I was hitting far below what I usually hit and was making far more errors than I usually make. I called my good friend Dan Ugla, and he told me to keep on going and take a risk as a free agent. I'm not going to lie, it was scary not knowing what offers might come. But being a free agent gave me an opportunity to do what was best for me and my family. In years past, players did not have this opportunity to do what was best for them. The Rangers offered me the chance, so I took it, even though the money was not what I hoped for.
Thank you for your time today, Ian. Desmond's most recent time as a free agent has prompted us to look at how free agency was established in the major leagues today. We will talk about the ability of players to engage in collective bargaining and how the National Labor Federation in the late 1800s fought for this important freedom for the workers in our country. Let's dig into the history of labor unions, free agency, loosening of the reserve clause, and the participation of players' unions has affected baseball players over the years. Our first piece of audio footage is of Joe Jackson, an outfielder for the Chicago White Sox of 1919, and how his participation in the first strike in Major League Baseball led to the importance of labor unions' loosening of their reserve clause.
Good afternoon, folks, and welcome to the ballpark. I'm sports announcer Ty Tyson. Today we're on the field with Joe Jackson talking about the scandal of the 1919 World Series. Good afternoon, Joe. Is it true that you and your team purposely threw away and lost that World Series?
Yes, Ty, that is true. The reason we did it is because we had no control over how much we were being paid, and this was our only option to be heard. We decided that this was the only way to get the attention of our team owners.
Would you help us to understand how you had no control?
Well, Ty, baseball has what is called a reserve clause over all its players. This restricts players from being able to decide who we play for, our salary, and the amount of time our contracts last. The owners have all the control, and we players have none. We as players want more money, but we had no chance to get our opinion heard. So we use this game to let the world know that we want more say in our careers and how it affects our personal life.
This historical footage shows us just how frustrated the players were over having no control over their careers. Many years later, the events of this game continue to encourage others, such as renowned labor union activist Marvin Miller, to fight for the rights of individual players and to loosen the ability of teams to control their players. His willingness to support the players in the fight for free agency and collective bargaining was realized when he became the executive of the Major League Baseball Players Association. He negotiated the MLB Players Association's first collective bargaining agreement with the league owners in 1968. We have footage of Marvin Miller giving a speech on his participation in Major League Baseball.
Hello, I'm Marvin Miller, executive of the MLB Players Association. For those that don't know me, I've been involved in workers' unions since I was a child, from the National War Labor Board to the United Steelworkers Association. I'm passionate about making sure that workers, even ball players, have a say in their salary and tenure with an organization. In 1968, I was able to raise the minimum MLB salary from $6,000 to $10,000. We initiated a strike against the owners until the Commissioner of Baseball, Bowie Kuhn, gave them leverage to negotiate a new collective bargaining agreement in 1970. Within that CBA, we won the right to arbitration for players and raised the minimum salary once again. I hope this will prove to be successful in later years for ball players.
This ruling stayed in effect until Curt Flood's unsuccessful challenge of the reserve clause got the ball rolling towards free agency. Funded by his fellow players, Flood sued Major League Baseball privately and eventually lost his case to the U.S. Supreme Court. But the battle educated countless players and millions of Americans about the fundamental inequity of the reserve system. Just 3 years after the Flood's case, 2 players from the Dodgers challenged the reserve clause once again. This time, instead of a trial in a court of law, an independent arbitrator heard the case, and in December 1975, the players finally won the right to free agency. Marvin Miller and the MLB Players Association's work had finally paid off. Because of the early work of the National Labor Federation and its fight to protect workers excluded from collective bargaining protections, and Marvin Miller's continuous work with the MLB Players Association towards free agency, players today now have the ability to negotiate their own contracts. This gives them freedom and control of what is best for them. The contributions of Miller and Flood prove just how important history is, even to baseball players and fans. The successful founding of the MLB Players Association proved to everyone just how long the players were taken for granted and shaped the game of baseball forever. I'm Garett Ozmer, and this concludes our segment of free agency on FSN, so we'll see you next time.